There is a satisfaction that I think everyone gets whenever they see a revenge type of story, and it's that same feeling I felt when reading this chapter. Koga whooping Yumi's ass just gave me that. I was happy. It brought joy into my heart to see Yumi get his ass handed to him, and to see Koga has grown enough to actually challenge Yumi in this way. And it's looking like it's gonna be a clean sweep as well, but let's actually break down the chapter and do a review of it as well. And we'll start off with the chapter's name, which is called Payback, which is appropriate given what is actually happening in this chapter, and it kicks off right where we left off in the last chapter, the confrontation between Koga and Yumi is talking about how he loves the place that he is in right now, and it seems like he's working for their Yakuza, so he's working for criminals, and he's sort of like a mercenary, or someone they hire to do their violent, dirty work basically, and apparently he's making enough money to make ends meet by doing this. At least that's what Yumi says. He seems pretty proud of it. Maybe he's saying it to scare Koga a bit, but given his track record, or at least the Yumi from a few years back, I would say both are probably true. He's trying to scare Koga and he's genuine about what he is saying, but he threatens to say, hey look, he's gonna cut Koga up as well right now. And Koga, he stances up, saying the exact same thing he said in the previous chapter, and he's like, oh yes, you're still the same guy. Which makes me suspect something. Either the author is going out of his way to establish that yes, Yumi is still Yumi, like he's repeating the same thing multiple times, because there are some people who might think Koga is a bit too petty, but even if you were to say Koga is too petty, Yumi did do what he did to Koga. It's his fault. You get to do the crime. You don't get to determine what happens after that. You're reaping what you're sowing. But I do get going with the route of not making Koga look too petty. But another thing that this could also be an indication of is maybe a subversion of what is going on here. Because what Yumi is saying right now, it might be, and this is a hypothetical scenario that I think is really unlikely, it might be that Yumi is trying to scare Koga and is just bringing up Yakuza violence and all this stuff just to scare him away if he can and just live in peace. Because technically speaking, we have no evidence that Yumi is doing what he's doing, and even though he's sharpening a knife, it seems like he's working on a car as well. So instead of something scary like working for the Yakuza as a hired, basically, man of violence, saying you're now a mechanic ain't really that scary for someone who's trying to, you know, beat your ass. And I could also get mentioning the Yakuza because it could also mean that Koga might be a bit scared to involve other parties into this. Again, it's possible. I just think it's unlikely that this is the case. And I'm dwelling on it because I've seen a few people that might not like Koga doing this, so hey, here it is here. But going back to the chapter itself, Yumi is like, alright fine, bring it on, come on, let me whip your ass, let me cut you up, and Koga rushes in with raging fire. So he's kind of charging at him, and Yumi, he uses his knife, just goes straight away into using the knife, trying to stab Koga as he's coming towards him. But right before he can actually do that, right before he actually stabs Koga, Koga manages to dodge it in the nick of time, and we see the same whoosh effect, which might indicate that Koga is using pre-initiative here, because we've seen this exact same effect, indicating that it's been used before in like Kengan with Kuroki versus Kano. But Koga dodges to the right of Yumi, and Yumi, he tries to follow up with that because he's following Koga, so he sort of shifts the knife to the right, pointing towards Koga, trying to, you know, get another attack off if you can. But Koga's basically one step ahead of him and hits Yumigahara in his elbow or the upper part of his arm, one of those two areas, with flashing steel nevertheless. And it's probably one of the strongest in the Nico style. Like, it really hurts. That punch probably did a number on Yumi, and you can tell cause he lets go of that knife. But as he's letting it go, he charges or shoulder tackles Koga, and while he's close up, he starts rushing at him with, punches. And Koga, he's like dodging, blocking, deflecting, doing all of this. And you can kind of see Koga's sweating a bit. Like, he's like, man, this is actually kind of dangerous. You can tell this is a bit tense for him. And we even see him thinking about, yeah, look, Yumi's power is no joke. That, like, he can actually one-shot him. He's still quite powerful, which gets rid of the idea that Yumi has sort of decreased in strength or fallen off in strength. He is still the ex-fang of Metsudo, and he still poses a pretty good threat. He was an A-list gladiator that Toyota handpicked to fight against the Kengan Association. Yumi's a badass technically. He's just also a piece of shit. But as Koga is gaining distance, going back to the fight, Yumi sort of tries to follow up because now he's applying more pressure. And he gets closer to Koga and he tries to go for what seems to be a chop. But we see the exact same effects again, the indication of pre-initiative being used. Because he basically moves away and there's that whoosh. So Yumi, he barely misses Koga, but unfortunately for Yumi, Koga just barely stepped out of range and follows up quite quickly with a straight right punch directly to Yumi's face, and it sends him back. Like, this man is almost flying back. And it is this exchange where Yumi kind of realizes, oh man, this is not the same kid. He thought he was about to have an easy time, and now it dawns on him that nah, this is not gonna be an easy time. This kid has basically grown in strength. And Koga's like, hey, Yumi, he's thinking this to himself, Yumi's as sharp as he ever has been, but that's not exactly what's going on. We have the narrator saying basically that Koga is overestimating Yumigahara in this moment, which is kind of sad to be honest, because like it's like, oh no, now the narrative's against you now. But Yumi, he's genuinely bothered by the fact that like, hey look, this guy was just a small fry, less than a small fry, literally just a few years ago. Now, we have had multiple indications that Koga's growth is astronomical. This was established in the very first 50 or so chapters of Kengan Omega. Everyone that saw Koga's growth was surprised by his growth. Ryuki, everyone, even Yamashita, everyone was surprised by this. Even when Zaiji was getting his ass kicked, he could not believe it. He's like, hey yo, what's going on here? And we've seen Koga, he trains every now and then. He's participated in Purgatory, he's participated in the Kengan matches, he's part of the Supernovas. He's been doing work. We've seen a few statements, we've even seen a few fights here and there. So a lot has happened statement wise and what we have seen, which facilitates the growth of Koga. Basically, he's at the point now where he's able to go toe to toe with an ex-fang of Metsudo. But Yumi, unfortunately, he doesn't like this idea. He's thinking he has to put Koga in his place. And look, if he can, he should probably do it. All the more help for Koga, right? For him to grow. But I don't think that's gonna happen at all. I think the mere fact that Koga felt confident enough to pull up on Yumi in the first place means that he's probably got this. Cause with Zaiji, it was the exact same thing. Like, he pulled up to Zaiji when he was confident that, oh yeah, I can cook him now. But let's go back to the fight. Let's not ramble on too much. Koga uses Raging Fire again to dash towards Yumigahara. And he tries grabbing, or it's more like a swipe motion. Maybe it was like trying to scratch him or something. But either way, he tries doing that with his right hand and he completely misses. And you can kind of tell that Yumi is kind of charged up because of course, everything that we had talked about before. But he's making more sounds. He's making the haya sounds, the kiya sounds. So he's definitely putting his heart and soul into this now. But as he's trying to go in on Koga, he's trying to attack him. He's getting closer. He has his guard up, but there's one section of his body that he's guard up that he isn't really guarding against, and that's his liver. And Koga, he almost detects this, because there's this moment where he's just like standing there and he's like, oh, he really is open in that area, and he just delivers the crescent moon kick. And my man has the funniest reaction. It hurts like hell. It gave me joy in my heart to see Yumi's face, like, because it was so funny. Because this is exactly what he did to Koga. Only Koga didn't see it coming. His guard was not up. So there wasn't even the mental idea that, oh yeah, I'm about to take this hit. Which I think makes a little bit of a difference. But with that, he just goes onto the floor. He's a little bit crouched down in the official chapter. In the drafts, my man is on the floor, lying down. And Koga's like, yep, that's payback for what you did back then. And Yumi, he's getting up, he's like, okay, now I really want to kill you. And that's the end of the chapter. Now, what I'm guessing is going to happen next is that we're probably gonna have him revenge Jose now. Or, you know, Koga might as well have forgotten. Although there was a specific moment, like when Jose had lost and he was in the hospital, he promised Sekabayashi that he's getting his run back. And he's technically here. So we'll see what the future of this fight has in store. But look, if you're expecting anything else but a Yumi ass whipping, then I'm sorry. It's Koga's time to shine. And I think this would probably go to show that, like, Koga has broken into, although he technically, you could say he broke into this tier when he beat Ryuki. But I think there's a lot more context to that fight that's important, which contributes to Koga winning. But with beating Yumigahara, he's officially, like, he could get into purgatory and be an A-lister, basically. If Koga in this form could go back in time, he would have participated in the Kengan Association versus Purgatory match. Probably would have fought Yumigahara as well. But yeah, that's the chapter. Liked it a lot. Can't wait for the next few chapters to come out. And yeah, that's the review and breakdown. Don't forget to like and sub, and until next time, take it easy.